Tune in to our latest podcast episode featuring Elizabeth Nightingale, a neurological music therapist. Discover the incredible impact of music therapy in diverse fields, from stroke recovery to pediatrics. Chilton Music Therapy is pioneering programs that blend music therapy with community outreach, whether it's supporting premature babies or offering palliative care. Learn how Chiltern's innovative approach makes a difference. Plus, explore their new online learning platforms designed to empower caregivers with musical tools. Don't miss this insightful conversation on transforming healthcare through music. Listen now. We'd love to hear from you. Check the show description to text us any questions.
Hi, and welcome everybody, and we hope you enjoy this podcast called On the Tip of My Tongue. Now, I'm Rob Edwards.
And I'm Jonathan Hirons.
And this podcast is a follow-up to a film which Jonathan made about aphasia. So, what is aphasia? Well, it's a condition caused by some kind of injury to the brain, which is often, could be a stroke, or could be just falling off a bike. And it affects your ability to use language in all its forms. Speaking, writing, reading, sending text, whatever. 350,000 people in the UK suffer from a debilitating condition called aphasia. Fewer than half this number suffer from Parkinson's, and yet most people have heard of Parkinson's, whilst almost nobody has heard of aphasia.
So welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you for coming on the Tip of My Tongue podcast. It's great to have you with us. Perhaps you can tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah, sure. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. So I am a qualified neurologic music therapist, and I have a couple of roles at Chiltern. One involves kind of overseeing some of our different neuro services, but I also work as a clinical practitioner specialising in stroke and brain injury, and I also do some work with pediatrics as well.
Tell me a little bit about Chilton Music Therapy, because it's an interesting organisation. So perhaps you can tell me what it does.
Yeah, so Chilton, we are a non-profit social enterprise, and we provide music therapy services all the way from kind of premature babies all the way through to kind of palliative care, elderly care, and everything sort of in between. So we have music therapists that might be working in school services or in a hospital or in community, seeing people at home as well. And we additionally have a range of community groups that we run in person for different kind of client groups supporting in different areas. Some of those are run by music therapists, and some of those are run by our community musician team that we have as well. And we have recently launched some online learning platforms as part of Chilton's offering as well. So kind of increasing our training arm for equipping family caregivers and other therapists in kind of healthcare with different ways of using music to support their work. So a whole range of things really that we do as an organisation.
Obviously, as you said, that you go out into the wide world. It's not just online, it's in groups, presumably. I think I said somewhere you go to care homes and that sort of thing. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. So in terms of the kinds of clients that we might see, we might be supporting people with global developmental delays. We might be supporting people with autism or ADHD, but it might be neurodegenerative conditions like dementia, Huntington's, Parkinson's, or perhaps more on the rehabilitation side, might be supporting people who've had a stroke or a brain injury. So it's a real broad spectrum. And then we do also do a lot of mental health support in kind of mainstream settings as well. So somebody doesn't have to have a specific diagnosis to benefit from accessing music therapy, but we would seek to kind of support those people in four main areas, we tend to say. So we might be supporting them emotionally in terms of well-being. It might be we're supporting them more functionally in terms of things like communication or cognitive skills or even movement skills as well.
Yeah, I mean, music is a fantastic thing, isn't it? Obviously, I've come across this, on my journey, as they say. And some people who can't, for example, can't speak, we'll talk about this later, but can't speak, but they can make noises, may not sing, but they make singing like noises, should we say. So it's a fantastic thing. Do you know why music has that effect on people?
Well, what we know from the research to date is that nothing stimulates so many parts of the brain at the same time as music. And we also know that because of the unique way in which it's processed in the brain, it can be used to kind of build new neural pathways around areas that have been damaged, perhaps by disease, maybe by injury to the brain as well. And it's that global activation, really. So it's interesting you gave an example there, which we often might reference, actually. So when we're speaking, our language centre is on the left side of the brain. But if we're singing, we actually engage the right hemisphere. So we're using a different part of the brain. Right. So that can create a great in for us as music therapists, because if we find the language side is damaged on the left, but the right is intact, we might be able to use singing or phrases in toned singing, have an alternative in to then begin working on some of their functional speech.
Does it help people improve with the left side? So if the right side's working better, should we say, if you've got, as I do, something like aphasia, does it help? It doesn't obviously cure it, but does it help people use your language better?
Absolutely. I mean, what we know with the principles of neuroplasticity is music can be a great tool for really supporting in that as well. So we can, as I say, kind of build those new pathways using music and the unique way in which it's processed to create new pathways to support somebody after something like a stroke. Right. And that might be specifically around language areas, or it might be, as I say, something around some of their cognitive skills or their movements needs as well.
Right. So maybe it's a good time to move on to the thing we're actually going to talk about, which is your work with people with aphasia. So perhaps tell me a bit how that's going to work.
So we have recently launched some online aphasia music therapy groups. And those are groups that we're going to be running twice a week on a Tuesday morning and on a Thursday afternoon. And the kinds of things that we'll be supporting people with in those groups will be around communication and social interaction, some cognitive areas as well that we'll be supporting, and really equipping people with ideas and strategies using music that they can carry forward every day to support them with speech, communication, attention skills, memory, different kind of strategies that people might need to support them every day. We'll be kind of using and exploring and sharing together in those groups.
So we should talk about a group. How big will the groups likely to be?
That's a good question. So I know the groups, we're trying to not make them too large because we want to be able to foster those kind of relationships and a sense of community in the group as well. So I know at the moment, we've recently launched, and the group currently is sort of I think it's just under 5, but we'll be growing that over time. But I think the idea is that we wouldn't have more than sort of 15 to 20 per group. But if we're seeing the need continue to increase, great, we will launch some other groups. That's what we're really hoping, is that we'll be able to increase that appetite over time.
I think the takeaway for me, for your organisation, is you can do it anywhere in the country. I mean, the problem, and obviously I've come across this as well, sometimes you get some parts of the country, they have good communications with people like with aphasia, and some have none. But obviously you're beating that by being online.
That's it. I mean, you're right. It's a real postcode lottery, particularly when you're looking at community access post-discharge. I know some NHS trusts, for example, where the waiting list perhaps to access community speech and language therapy might be over a year that someone's waiting from the point they're now back home. And we know that can be really, really challenging for families. So being able to have an online option that kind of overcomes some of those geographical barriers is something that really kind of aligns with our values of kind of increasing access for people in the community.
Right. And does this include the people who are caring for the people with aphasia? Because obviously some people have more skills than others, don't they?
Absolutely. So caregivers or family members are very welcome to join on the call as well. Sometimes that's been great for them to have those shared experiences together, for those caregivers also to learn about things they might want to carry forward with that person in the week. And other times we've seen where they've joined them initially thinking, well, they're really going to need my support. But actually, as they've got to know the therapist, as they've become more familiar with the group members, actually that's then something they've been able to attend more independently, which has felt really meaningful for some individuals. So yes, it's something we're open to and very supportive of if that person needs that support in the session.
And we're talking about, obviously music's involved in this, but we're not talking about a choir, are we? We're talking about using music as a way of, as you say, opening up pathways with the person who's got the problem, aphasia or whatever.
Absolutely. So yes, there will be kind of vocal-based exercises, but the goal is more around sort of developing and rehabilitating some of that communication. And then we might be trying to synthesize that work through some shared singing after doing some targeted work. But that's really to kind of bring together all of those communication areas that we'll have been working on. But there'll also be opportunities to practice different types of communication. So we might be doing some music listening and reflection. We might be doing some songwriting and making choices together. And how do we make choices, and how can we practice and explore and support each other in different ways to share our preferences when we do have aphasia. So there'll be a whole host of kind of fun, engaging ways of sort of supporting people in the session. So not just focused on singing.
No, I mean, songwriting sounds interesting, I have to say. That's I wouldn't immediately think about doing songwriting, but I suppose is that, just picking on songwriting specifically, is that to do with the rhythm of the words as well as the music itself? Is that the idea?
It can be, but it also, songwriting can be a really great way of working on executive function skills like choice making, organisation and planning, reasoning and comprehension, but through a really fun, engaging task. And particularly in a group setting, it can be really rewarding to be able to contribute working on those skills and create a high quality kind of product together over a period of time. When we've done exercises like this before, we might be using, I have a number actually on my desk here. We have different visuals. We might be sharing, do we prefer option 1 or 2? Would we like this instrument? Do we want it faster, slower? And why do you want that one? Can you give us a reason? Can you explain? Or can we work on some problem solving together?
Yeah.
So there's lots of fun ways of practicing those sort of executive function skills through something like songwriting. But of course, when we come to writing the lyrics, then yes, that also then can feed into lots of other really meaningful communication.
Right.
Loving the podcast? Subscribe for more episodes and support the journey. Your donations help keep the show thriving. Please go to tipofmytonguefilm.com. Thank you for being part of our community.
Now, this is a new initiative, isn't it? You're starting this up to what you've been doing previously.
Yes. So in the past, when we've run online aphasia groups, those have been exclusive and only been able to be accessed by patients that were referred from a specific NHS service who had some community funding to do a project with us. So we know from experiences running those kind of exclusive groups that that's been really valuable for those patients. Whereas this offer is something that anybody can refer into who's had aphasia that wants to explore kind of whether an online group like this could be useful and enjoyable for them. And that's partly why we've also got this option for the pay as you go. So people don't have to commit long term. They might just decide, let me try one and get a sense of what that might feel like and be like for me. And then if I enjoy it, I can look at booking some kind of blocks.
Right. So what are we talking about per session then in terms of money?
Yes. So if you're just doing a pay-as-you-go option, it's £15 for one session. But if you decide to then go on and book a block, then those are discounted. So people can look into those different cost options on our website. So that would just be chiltonmusictherapy.co.uk/online. And when you scroll down on that page, you'll see more information about the groups, and you can get more info on the cost options through that one.
So, I mean, it's a relatively modest fee, I would say. I mean, people pay this for Netflix or something, but, so... Yeah. And it's cheaper than going to the gym, so...
Well, it's basically, a gym for your brain is probably the way of thinking about it.
Write that one down.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Like a full body workout for your brain.
Yes, good.
But yeah.
So are we talking about, in terms of frequency, how often will you run these obviously it depends on how many you get people in, but...
So the group's being run every week.
Right.
There will obviously be kind of breaks for kind of Christmas, etc., depending on where the dates fall. But yes, that is going to be sort of something that's available to access every week for the foreseeable.
And how long will each session take?
Yeah, so sessions are up to 1 hour. That allows sort of sufficient time to kind of welcome people, get them settled, do a range of different kind of interventions together, and then have some wrap-up time at the end. Okay.
So presumably an hour is probably enough for anybody to concentrate on, is it? Is that really the idea about that?
That's it. It's also, an online format can be more cognitively demanding for some clients who've had aphasia. So it's recognising, what would be sustainable for people. And also, that feels like a shorter term commitment in someone's day, hopefully something that they could commit to on a regular basis if they found that valuable.
Yeah. I think it's really great. And I think, as I say, I think the fact that it can be accessed anywhere in the country, presumably in the world, I guess, but certainly in the country. And as we've said earlier, it's very patchy, isn't it? I mean, I waited when I had my bleed on my brain. I think I waited 6 weeks before I saw a speech therapist, and apparently that's quite quick.
That is very quick, yeah.
And some people, as you say, can wait months, can't they? Like as depending on which part of the country they are. So they could obviously they can come to you independently, as it were. So how are you going to tell people how does it actually exist? Obviously, you've got a website. Are you doing other things other than the website?
Yes, we've been doing a lot on social media. We've been linking in with some different aphasia organisations to kind of raise the profile, get the word out. We've been reaching out to existing relationships we have with hospitals, but also other hospitals, so that they might even signpost or recommend that for patients on discharge as a potential service that they might want to consider. So there's lots of different things we're trying to do to support, and obviously things like this today, being able to have different kind of platforms where we can let people know what we're offering.
Well, yes, I mean, obviously what will happen here, well, this won't go out, I'll tell you now. What we usually do is that in the show notes, we'll have all the links to your, as you say, the online thing. We'll put all those links into the show notes, and we do obviously we'll do some social media about you as well.
That would be great. Yeah,
that'd be great. So, all right. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to say? Now you've got your opportunity.
Probably just that when we have run these groups previously, as I said, in a more exclusive access to an NHS trust we were working with at the time, one of the unexpected joys really of running that was the relationships that ended up being formed between the people that joined the group and people that actually then ended up forming friendships through that group. Other family members and caregivers that then had another family who'd been through something similar, and the support that they were then able to continue developing outside of those sessions. So that was really lovely to be able to be part of, during not just a community online, but being a part of helping to foster a community that continued on outside of those sessions as well.
It's a fantastic thing to get people back in, because when you've got something like aphasia, it's quite isolating, and getting back into the swing of things, as it were, is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as we said, if you're living in a very rural area, perhaps limited public transport access, maybe you're no longer able to drive, what are the opportunities for you to access community in that environment? So, online can go some way to help bridge that gap.
Yeah, I always think not everybody's got somebody to, a partner or in that sense, because they may be living on their own.
Yeah, not everyone has family nearby to support and help.
So what you're doing is it brings people into that area, doesn't it? It helps them think they're belonging to something at least. Thank you, Elizabeth, for coming on the podcast. It's great, and good luck with what you're doing, because I think it's fantastic with what you're doing. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to this On the Tip of My Tongue podcast. We hope you found it helpful and informative. Now, if you want more help and information about strokes and aphasia, please go to stroke.org.uk, say aphasia, that's SAY, aphasia, all one word, .org, or the aphasia page of nhs.uk. This has been a Buffalo Lounge production. Please follow Buffalo Lounge on all the socials.